All eyes on them, man.
I mean, it really is. I think that's fair. You mentioned that during our last podcast as well. I think the time to strike for Ferrari is early, and they have to strike often. I mean, this is a championship pairing of drivers that we don't get very often. This level of driver talent, you don't get this kind of driver pairing often. Even though this is a much older Lewis Hamilton, the guy can still put it on the podium. He won 2 races last year.
Right.
The learning curve is going to be a little bit notable early, I think. There's still going to be a lot to go over as far as like actual Grand Prix procedure with Ferrari. But I think the expectations are still really high for a guy like Lewis Hamilton, for himself, as well as the fans. I think a top 5 has to be in mind here for Lewis. As far as Charles is concerned, I mean, you got to create early optimism for a championship run. Yeah. This is a podium or bust environment with Ferrari, but with the hype, with the potential that we saw out of that team last year at the very end, I mean, Charles has no option other than P3 at worst.
Well, we talked about it last year. Towards the end of the season, Charles Leclerc was on a tear.
He was ridiculous.
Like, really, ever since that win at Monaco, he really turned it on. And that entire end of the year, it was like, man, like, McLaren better, like, they need to keep a watch on Ferrari, and Charles Leclerc was the head of that operation. Not taking anything away from Carlos Sainz, of course, but Charles Leclerc was on a tear last year. If he can carry that into this year, he's for sure staring down a driver's championship, and he's at least going to go for it. So I agree.
This is absolutely a season.
You need a podium from Charles Leclerc first weekend.
100%.